For 9 endless minutes, silence filled the delivery room. No breath, no cry, only fear. And then, against all odds, a single fragile cry broke the silence, turning despair into a miracle. The delivery room, usually filled with anxious hope and the quiet anticipation of new life, suddenly fell into an unsettling silence when the newborn baby girl arrived. The doctors and nurses expected to hear the sharp, beautiful cry of life that signals a baby's first breath, but instead, there was nothing. The mother, exhausted from the labor, looked around in confusion and fear, waiting to hear her daughter's first sound. The father stood helplessly near, his heart racing as he noticed the concerned expressions spreading across the medical team. Instead of joy, the moment was overtaken by shock and fear. The baby lay still, tiny chest unmoving, face pale, not taking in the breath of life. In those terrifying seconds, every heart in the room sank. It is said that silence is the loudest sound, and in that delivery room, silence roared louder than anything. The mother whispered prayers under her breath, tears rolling down her cheeks, pleading with God for her child. The medical team quickly sprang into action, starting resuscitation, oxygen support, and chest stimulation, determined not to give up. The seconds felt like hours, the minutes like eternity. A new life had entered the world, but the question was, would she stay? The medical team worked with unwavering determination, knowing that every second was critical. A newborn deprived of oxygen faces not only the risk of death, but also lifelong consequences. The nurses and doctors performed resuscitation techniques, gentle chest compressions, assisted ventilation, and continuous oxygen supply. They rubbed the baby's back, tapped her tiny feet, anything that might stimulate a response. The father stood frozen, watching in disbelief, while the mother could barely keep herself conscious, whispering, "Please breathe, my child, please breathe." It was as if the entire room was caught in a storm of uncertainty, the clock ticking mercilessly, each second cutting deeper into hope. The baby's lips were still pale, her body limp, and there was no sign of life. Some might have thought of giving up, but the medical team refused. They knew that miracles sometimes take time, and time was exactly what they were willing to fight for. The mother's prayers grew stronger, whispered in rhythm with the doctor's resuscitation efforts. Nurses monitored her pulse and oxygen levels closely, while the doctor kept commanding, "Don't stop. We can bring her back." The fight between life and death was happening in real time, and every person in that room felt the gravity of those 9 minutes. Then, as if the heavens had finally heard the desperate prayers and tireless efforts, the miracle began to unfold. After nearly 9 endless minutes of struggle, the baby's chest quivered faintly. A soft gasp escaped her lips, like the first whisper of dawn breaking after a long night. Then, suddenly, came a sound that everyone in the room had been longing for, a weak but unmistakable cry. At first it was faint, almost fragile, but then it grew stronger, louder, and clearer. The cry of life echoed through the room, bringing tears of relief to the eyes of the medical staff and the parents. The mother, overwhelmed with emotion, broke down into sobs of gratitude, thanking God repeatedly. The father rushed forward, tears streaming down his face, whispering, "My daughter, my angel, you are here." The nurses smiled through their exhaustion, their hard work finally rewarded. The doctor sighed in relief, patting his team on the back, acknowledging that they had fought with every ounce of skill and determination to bring this little soul back to life. What had seemed like a tragedy just moments ago transformed into a miracle. That single cry was more powerful than any word, for it was the declaration that life had triumphed over death. The atmosphere of the room completely shifted from despair to joy. The baby was carefully placed on her mother's chest, her tiny heartbeat finally steady, her breathing rhythmic and alive. The mother held her daughter tightly, unwilling to let go, as if she were holding the most precious treasure in the world. The father gently touched her small fingers, marveling at the miracle that had just occurred. The entire medical staff stood by with smiles, silently proud of their effort and teamwork, knowing they had played a part in saving a life. Yet, everyone understood the gravity of those 9 minutes. 9 minutes without breath could have meant permanent damage, but the resilience of the baby and the relentless fight of the team gave her another chance. The parents, deeply moved, promised to cherish this gift of life with everything they had. The mother whispered into her daughter's ears, "You are a fighter, my miracle, and you came back to me." The cries of the baby, once feared never to be heard, now filled the room with hope and strength. That day became etched in the hearts of everyone present, a testimony to faith, perseverance, and the power of not giving up. As the hours passed, the baby stabilized, and her breathing grew stronger. She was monitored carefully, but with every passing moment, her condition improved. The parents could finally hold her without fear, staring at her tiny face with wonder. The memory of those terrifying 9 minutes would never fade, but neither would the miracle that followed. That cry, delayed but powerful, would forever remind them of the value of patience, hope, and resilience. The doctors explained to the parents that while it was a critical struggle, their daughter had shown incredible strength, and with proper care, she could grow up healthy and strong. The parents vowed to share her story one day, not as a tale of tragedy, but as a story of triumph, proof that miracles are real. Every birthday, every milestone, every smile from their daughter would remind them of that day she fought to breathe. She was not just born once, but twice, once into silence and again into life. Her story became a beacon of hope, a reminder that even when the odds seem impossible, persistence and faith can rewrite destiny. And so, the baby who entered the world without breath became the baby who cried, and in her cry was the sound of victory, love, and life.